Good to see all of you. Thank you for having me. My title, as you can see on the screen, is You Are Remarkable. And that's my title because you are. So let me tell you a couple of stories. On New York's Lower East Side, you can purchase a flavorful, creative, deep-fried hot dog for $8 or so at a place called Crif Dogs, C-R-I-F. It was called that because the two guys that started the business, they spent 2 years preparing to start this business. They traveled up and down the coast checking out different hot dog places, trying to figure out what's the most unique place, one they could make. And one day they were eating a hot dog, and one of the guys' names is Cliff, and the other guy called his name, but he had a mouthful of hot dogs, so he said Crif. So that became the name of the place, Crif Dogs. Anyway, this successful restaurant was established in 2001, but the owners, soon afterwards, wanted a new challenge. So they thought they'd open a bar, but here's the issue. Within 4 blocks of this restaurant, there were 60 bars. It's New York City, okay? Congested there. So they knew that for their bar to be successful, it had to be something remarkable. Remarkable is defined as being of note, something worthy of your attention. Things or people that are remarkable, people talk about it. Crif Dogs already owned a liquor license, and they had purchased this old wooden phone booth, which they had stuck back in the corner. You know, the kind with the dialer, and it was made out, literally made out of wood. These two factors, plus the space next door, became available. So this sparked an opportunity to create something truly remarkable. And in 2007, their new bar opened. Here's how it worked. Customers entered Crif Dogs. They proceeded to the phone booth in the back corner, and they dialed 2 on the old rotary dialer. And a voice answered asking, "Do you have a reservation?" And if you answered yes, a secret door in the phone booth opened, and you entered the bar. People walked into a classic speakeasy, only this one was legal. There was no sign out front. They did absolutely zero marketing. There were no advertisements. There was no physical evidence that the bar even existed, except in the phone booth. So what was the name of the bar, you might ask? Please Don't Tell. That was the name. Please Don't Tell. And by 2010, 3 years later, Please Don't Tell was rated one of the top 10 bars in the United States. Its unique decor, brick, wood, and stuffed animals, like real stuffed animals, its numerous original cocktail drinks, and its no longer so secret entryway, kept people talking about it and revisiting. And when you left the bar, the wait person would give you a black business card with the words, "Please don't tell," written on the card, but a phone number underneath in case you did want to tell. That was it. It was so remarkable they had no need to advertise or to market or even have a sign out front, and yet people somehow found out about it. Every vision begins with an idea. A vision manifests with the confidence and the passion to act on it, to do the work, to prepare. This is true often because of your circumstances. And that's the case of a friend of mine named Norma. Norma parked her car a number of years ago to help a stranded motorist. And as she walked back to the parked car, another driver came around the corner and hit her and dragged her for about 200 feet. She was rushed to the hospital with multiple broken bones, burns, and abrasions. She lost both her legs. She was not expected to live. But she did live, and she thrived. So what vision propelled her to get through all that and to actually live? Well, she had a 9-year-old daughter and twin 4-year-old boys and a husband. She wanted to be there for her family. That was her vision. So she experienced multiple surgeries, skin grafts, and a lot of pain. She learned to use her prosthetic legs along with hand crutches. And a couple of years ago, I went for a walk with her. My daughter is a physical therapist in Tucson, Arizona, and she works mostly with amputees. So she was one of my daughter's patients. Norma covered the 1.5-mile hike, mostly unassisted. She now plays golf. She keeps up with her growing children, and she helps other amputees to adjust their prosthetic limbs. Pretty remarkable, huh? One more. This is one you probably all know about. Remember the show, we don't get it, I don't think we get it here, but Britain's Got Talent. You all know, it's kind of like America's Got Talent, but a number of years ago, this woman came out on stage and said she wanted to be a singer. And she was kind of very plain looking. I don't know if she even had any makeup on or anything. She'd hardly ever been out of the house in her whole life, but she wanted to be a singer. And you could see the faces of the people in the audience rolling their eyes, smirking. Yeah, right, she's going to be a singer. But they told her to go ahead anyway. And after a few notes came out of Susan Boyle's mouth, she blew everybody away. I think her original song, her YouTube, got something like 25 million views. Anyway, it seemed impossible that she would be a singer, and she probably thought that for a good share of her life until she found out that she actually was. These people that I mentioned, the two guys, Cliff and his friend, and Norma and Susan, they're not remarkable because of what they accomplished. They were already remarkable. They just needed the courage, the practice, and the preparation to let their remarkability shine. In order to create their remarkable achievements, these people had to let go of all thoughts of not being good enough, of all thoughts of something being impossible. You could look at any one of them and say, impossible. Really, you're going to open a bar when there's 60 of them in your neighborhood? Really, you think you're going to walk and have a life after you've been crushed under a car and burned and lost your legs? Really, you think you can sing after you've never left the house for the first 40 years of your life? Really? Yes, in all cases. Because they're remarkable and they knew it. Or they at least were willing to believe it and they took a chance on it. Maybe they didn't know it at first, but they were willing to take a chance on it and do the work. So they got out there. So what's your vision? What are you here to do? What's your purpose in life? What's your calling? These are important questions to ask yourself, and maybe you already know that, maybe you're already doing it. But wherever you are in life, whether you're in school, beginning your career, mid-career, ending your career, retired, is there anything such thing as retired? I don't know. I haven't done it, so. There's something remarkable about you, something noteworthy. You wouldn't be here if there wasn't. You have a purpose, and if you're not sure what it is, then ask. Ask every day and get quiet and listen. You'll get an answer. One way, of course, is just to think about, what am I passionate about? What really gets me somewhat excited? If I could do something, what would it be? Or if I could be something. It doesn't have to be about doing. It's not about scale either. You're called to play a role here. And whether you are president or doctor or lawyer or a good friend or a parent or a grandparent or a caretaker, whatever you are, you're here to grow and learn and inspire other people to play their roles. There's something remarkable within you. Something remarkable about you. And it doesn't matter if your family, friends, or associates know it. It doesn't matter if they recognize it or approve of it. And if they don't, consider letting it shine anyway. Just do it. It may be that you continue doing what you're doing, but with enhanced enthusiasm, integrity, creativity, and a sense of purpose. Being remarkable does vary in scale, but it doesn't vary in importance. Whether your calling affects millions of people or one or two, it doesn't really matter. And for myself, as Bill said, I've published 9 books. 4 of them are novels, and while my nonfiction books, I've sold thousands of books, my novels, which I really enjoy writing and I love, one of them sold over 100 copies, the other 3, not even 100 copies. But I'll still write another one because I love doing it. It's not about how many I sell, it's about I feel called to do it. The stories pop up in my mind, and I just want to do it, so I do it. It's in me, and I want it to come out. And I have of course, I speak, and I coach, and I do those things too. It's not always about how much money I'll get paid, because obviously, if I sell less than 100 books, I'm not making a whole lot of money. But that's okay. I get money for other things. So we tend to have this connection that, okay, if it's successful, it's because you're getting paid a lot of money for it. But that's sometimes true. But sometimes your remarkability comes out because you take care of somebody, or because you're a good listener to friends. You don't get paid for that, but maybe that's why you're here. That's what you're here to do. And so express it. Let that be it. You will do remarkable things because you are remarkable. You don't necessarily have to overcome a tragedy, an accident. You don't have to build a company. You don't have to sing in front of millions of people to be remarkable. You can just be you. A person who possesses integrity, an open heart, and wisdom. With these qualities, and we all have the potential because we have these qualities in us, we realize then that our presence alone is remarkable. And being that our presence is remarkable, you automatically will speak and do things, act in remarkable ways, because that's who you are. That's what you are. This quality of being will show up in your interactions with others, and if you do any kind of work, it'll show up in the quality of your work product. And the interesting thing is that once you discover your own remarkability and become confident in it, you start to see it in others. And you realize that you have to look for it sometimes because it's not always obvious, but you call it out. I work as a coach, and so I've always been pretty good at seeing that in people, seeing their potential, and I often believe in my clients more than they believe in themselves. But I don't do the work for them. They have to do their own work. But I'm there to support and encourage and to offer different perceptions. So think about how you are with other people. If you have negative points of view of people, then you are complicit in bringing out a positive point of view of someone. If you see greatness in them, then you are complicit, you are helpful, supportive in bringing out the best in them. So, I mean, we have to deal with bad behavior sometimes, poor behavior, bad habits. We have to hold people accountable. We have to establish clear boundaries. But we can do this from a place of believing in them. So if your teenager is smoking pot, vaping, failing in school, and their room is a garbage heap, you deal with those issues as needed. That's actually pretty common. You get help, but hold the vision for his or her remarkability. Don't impose your idea of success but let go of judgment. Offer unconditional positive regard. You hold them accountable without losing sight of their greatness, the remarkable soul that they are. And that same thing works if you're in the workplace with other people, is hold that vision for them, regardless of how they might act. You've all been in the workplace and you know that not everybody's helpful. Not everybody acts in a mature way, but you can hold that vision for people as opposed to complaining about them or blaming them or all the other negative things that we might do. But you can be somebody helpful by that. But again, you still deal with issues. You still have to have boundaries and those kind of things. Your soul is your essence. It's who you are. You're not your job. You're not your body. You're not even the role that's assigned to you. You may have a job, play certain roles, and you definitely have a body, or you wouldn't be sitting here. These are part of you, but you are your own essence. And at any time, you can step back and see that what others say and do is not personal to you. It's personal to them. Your interpretation of what others say and do creates your experience of life. Opinions, judgments, behaviors of others are about them. Criticism from others should be considered for its merit, for its value, but not taken personally. And you can catch yourself if you're taking it personally and just stop. So wait a minute. This is not about me, but did they say something that's helpful, something that I need to change? Separate it from yourself. To listen to criticism and carefully consider its value, to apply whatever truth you may find in it, only increases your remarkability. As a writer, I was part of a writers group for many years, and we critiqued each other's writing. It was so helpful. Some people would come to the group, and if you said something that was critical about what they wrote, they would defend it, get defensive. It's like, okay, why are you in the group? Because if you're defending where you are, then you don't want to express your remarkability. You just want to pretend that you're already there. But in our work, in our preparation, we need feedback. And so we look for it from people who actually know what they're talking about. And I fortunately was in a group of writers who were all better than me. And so I learned a lot about writing from those guys. And so it was important. So we listen to criticism carefully, but also with praise. Praise also should be considered and applied rather than allowing it to just feed your ego. It's certainly nice when people tell you, oh, great job, and that sort of thing. And that encouragement is really great. But also to step back from it and say, okay, that was good, and to move on. I think it's important to have a balance, to not be dependent on external influences, but to listen and carefully consider and be dependent on the internal influence of your own remarkability that is inspired by the presence of God within you. As a remarkable soul who's living your purpose, you will find that you carry an inner joy, a sense of satisfaction, and a profound gratitude that is not diminished by whatever's going on in the world around you. Life happens. There are successes, there are failures, there's sickness, there's death, victories, defeats. That's all part of life. But you are secure in who you are. All those things don't determine who you are. They're just experiences in life. Sadness, anger, hurt, joy, pride, contentment are all part of life. It's not like you say your affirmations and read your daily word, and then suddenly your life is all wonderful. It's an inside job, and stuff happens still. And what it does, it prepares you for the good and the stuff that doesn't feel so good. And you get through it. I'm sure most of you have noticed that as you've walked your own spiritual path. So we accept the feelings in our life, whatever they may be, whether we call them negative or positive. We accept them as they arise. And your acceptance of what you feel and who you are, and along with your willingness to be remarkable, make you powerful. So you're not only remarkable, but when you actually take a look at yourself and self-reflect about your remarkability and also make corrections in wherever you fall short, when you do those things, you become powerful. And powerful and remarkable, I would say, describe the three people I talked, or the four people I talked about earlier. The guys who created Please Don't Tell, Norma, who walked and played sports again, and Susan. So there's a secret door to the inner you, to your soul, and you have a reservation already. So begin with a willingness to explore. Make it your intention to express your remarkability. Commit yourself to being you. You don't need other people's approval. You don't need to consider how you grew up or the messages you received as a child. The past is the past. Who are you now? And through discovery and practice, you will learn to listen to your inner voice with a sense of certainty. And I know for all of you, you're already working on that, to listen to your inner voice. I would say listen even more, and the more you do it, you create that sense of certainty and that sense of reliance. That you can rely on what you hear inside, and you know that if you get an idea to do something and you check it inside, it feels totally right, no matter what things look like out here. And so you do it. And over time, you will come to rely on the remarkable soul that you are, on the inner voice that is within you, that guides you. And of course, it doesn't hurt to ask. I read a lot of David Hawkins, and David Hawkins, growing up, literally had some experiences that could be called totally blissful. And yet, as an adult, he was an agnostic. But he got so far down in his life in terms of his physical diseases, he had over 20 of them, that one day he just said, if there is a God, I ask him to help me now. So I'm saying, even if you have doubt, ask for help. Ask for help to find the things that I'm talking about, your remarkability, your power, your ability. Just sit there or kneel there or lie there or whatever you do, stand there and ask for help. And that help will come. You have to want it, though. It's amazing that when you are in that humble position of asking for help, how fast it comes. The insights come. So I leave you with that you are remarkable. I can see that right now, just looking at you. You are remarkable, and I ask that you go within and find that remarkability in yourself. Celebrate it, be grateful for it, and step up, have the courage to express it in whatever way works for you. Remember, scale doesn't matter. Whatever way works for you, whatever way is truly helpful, whatever way expresses what's inside of you. You are remarkable. Thank you.